I'm Robert Lundin, and I'm a candidate to represent District VI on the H.I.S.D. school board. Today's July 18th, 2017, and I wanted to take a couple of minutes to share some information with you about an issue that I believe could have significant impacts on students and families as they get ready to return to school in just a couple of weeks, but that they may not even know about, as well as that I believe illustrates why we need a new kind of leadership on the H.I.S.D. school board. So we're in mid-July right now, and a lot of my friends who don't work in education have given me a hard time over the years because they say that summer is the laid-back period, that that's when you must take vacations or do the minor repairs on the school buildings. And that's partly true. But the summer, and July in particular, is critical for a successful start to a school year, because that's the time when school leaders and district leaders can guarantee that they've recruited, selected, and trained all of the people they need to start the school year fully staffed. In fact, some of you may even remember that at this point last year, signs like this were displayed in front of H.I.S.D. campuses across the city, proudly proclaiming that their school had been 100% staffed with teachers. The reason behind that message was unmistakable, giving a clear message to families that there wasn't going to be any distraction for students from learning starting on day one. So I wanted to get a clear sense as to whether we were going to be ready for day one this year. And I just went to the H.I.S.D. teacher recruitment website and started looking at the statistics. And what I saw really concerned me. As of this weekend, there were 446 instructional positions vacant across the district. That includes both classroom teachers and instructional support staff, teacher aides and paraprofessionals. Those folks would in turn have a direct connection to tens of thousands of kids. And unless something is done quickly, those classrooms won't have a permanent teacher or aide ready when those kids arrive in just a couple of weeks. But what concerned me even more than this was the reason why a lot of these folks hadn't been hired. And that's because a lot of their schools also didn't have a principal in place. Now, to be fair, in a district as big as H.I.S.D., with 283 campuses, there are always going to be some number of people who leave a school for retirement or promotion, or they move away with their family. But stability within schools and across a district is critical to maintaining student achievement, relationships with families and teachers, and most importantly, students. And so I looked carefully at whether or not we were maintaining that stability and having steady leadership within each of our schools. I first saw that, in fact, H.I.S.D. was very open, that they had 23 new principals going through what they called their New Leader Institute. Those could be folks that are either new to the principalship, they've risen up through the H.I.S.D. ranks, or they could be new to our district. So 23, pretty substantial number, but in a district as big as ours, that could be understandable. But then as I kept digging, I saw more and more examples of where the district was also shuffling principals from school to school. Example after example after example. Now you may say, Robert, these folks are experienced principals. Why does that matter? Because even the most rock star principal, when they're going from one school to the next, it takes them time to learn about their communities, to learn the strengths and weaknesses of their faculty and staff, and to understand what it's going to take to push student achievement within that school. So combine a significant number of principals that have been shuffled during the summer, and 23 people that are either brand new to being a principal or brand new to the Houston Independent School District, and that's enough of a challenge in terms of organizational stability. But then I saw one more thing that gave me even more pause. And that's that there are still 14 schools across the district that are currently lacking a principal. This is public record. It's on the website. And it's mid-July. So any principal that comes in will only have a couple of weeks or even a couple of days to get ready for a successful start to the school year. And those schools are in every part of the city. Garden Villas, Lanier, Scarborough, Brookline, Deedy, Foster, Williams, Alameda, Sanchez, Westbriar here in District 6, Martin Luther King, Clemente Martinez, Gallegos, and Bonham, also here in District 6. So all of these factors put together were troubling enough. But there was one other thing that really stuck out at me, and that was the names of these last three schools: Bonham, Gallegos, and Clemente Martinez. You see, back in April, District Administration introduced a plan to turn around underperforming schools that they called Achieve 180. And for those schools, they promised that any school that had been identified as improvement required would have access to highly effective leaders and support for them from the very beginning. And what I remembered was, in fact, that those three schools were schools that had been identified as ones that would receive that specialized support. So in the course of moving all of these people from school to school, we've taken three schools that we've identified as at greatest risk, Clemente Martinez, Bonham, and Gallegos, and left them in mid-July with no leader at all, despite the fact that the first pillar of what was promised to them and agreed to by the board was that they would have access to experienced and effective leadership. Those schools, above all, are left in an untenable position, as the teachers within those schools don't know who they're going to be reporting to. Families don't have a reliable face that they know they can come to with questions or concerns. And the incoming principal, whomever he or she might be, loses the opportunity to hit the ground running and start building the relationships that will set up their students for success. So with all of that, as I put the math together, that's when I got really concerned. You take those 23 new principals, you add in 12 summer principal transfers, plus those 14 campus vacancies, leaves you with a total of at least 49 schools across the district that will have a new principal coming in this year. That is remarkable, and a higher ratio than I've seen in my more than 20 years of living in this city. Think about that. That means that nearly 1 out of every 5 schools in H.I.S.D. will undergo a leadership transition this fall. There is no way that that can happen without it directly impacting students, teachers, and families. So what do we take away from that? It worries me, because not only do we have schools that don't have the leader they need right now, but other schools, more than 40 of them, that are going to be undergoing significant transitions at a crucial time. And that responsibility is owned by district administration, but it also needs to be owned by the board. You see, the plan under which some of those placements of principals happened, Achieve 180, which I've been open about throughout my campaign, I've had concerns about for a long time, was first presented to the board on April 20th. And literally, the first section of that plan focuses on what the profile of principals were going to be and how they would be trained and supported. Board members received extended briefings on that plan on April 20th and May 18th. And in 5 subsequent public meetings, had the opportunity to ask directly what the impact would be, not just on those schools, but on other schools across the district, to be able to anticipate whether or not a plan like this might throw dozens of other schools into a state of flux. Unfortunately, the board didn't do that. And we're left with a situation now where we have nearly 50 schools that are going to be going through significant transition, and it's unknown what effect that will have on the kids, the teachers, and the families that those schools are there to serve. That's preventable. And that's a question not just of the policy itself, but how the board goes about its duties of asking the right questions and monitoring to make sure that that policy is being executed effectively. So with that, I want to underscore why I think this is such an important issue and why I believe that board members needed to be taking leadership in the past and in the future on issues like this. So I want to be direct with you about what you can expect from me as an H.I.S.D. trustee. You'll know that I will dedicate my time, energy, and attention to posing direct questions to both district administration and my board colleagues to ensure that all decisions are made with an awareness of their impact on students and families. I'll also come to board meetings armed with an in-depth awareness of the unique needs of each of District VI's 21 schools, and I'll be prepared to effectively advocate on their behalf. District 6 is diverse with a lot of schools with a lot of different needs. Kids at West Side may have a very different set of needs than the kids at West Briar, than the kids at Valley West. And I need to know exactly what's going on campus by campus so that when I get to that board dais, I can advocate on their behalf with clarity and conviction. And finally, you'll know that I will insist that decisions are made based on the best interests of kids, not solely on the individual interests of adults. In a previous video I shared with you, I described the litmus test of the ratio of conversation going on at the board table that linked back to effects on kids versus the interest of adults. I believe we're skewed way too much on the adult side, and that a smart, thoughtful trustee needs to be constantly bringing back any discussion to what this is going to mean for the more than 200,000 kids across our district. So with that, I hope that you will continue to get involved in this campaign. We've had a great start so far. More than 100 donors and people engaged from all different parts of the city, and particularly in District 6. But we need your support and involvement now more than ever. I urge you to go to our website, www.robertlundin.org, where you can learn about ways to get involved, sign on to our mailing list, and make a financial contribution. You can join our Facebook page, Lundin for H.I.S.D, or sign up for our Twitter feed at Lundin for H.I.S.D. Or, if you're a bit more old school like me, you can even call directly at 844-HISD-RAL and ask any questions you might like about our campaign, what we're looking to achieve, and how you can be a part of it. I'll be the one on the other side of the line. Hope you have a great day. Thanks so much for watching.